It's Alicia from DFW Vapor, and today I am here with Alfie and Dan here at the Eagle. So what's brought y'all into the radio industry?
Money.
Money?
No, not at all.
Women. Yeah, women.
Both, a little bit of both?
No, it's actually neither, because it hasn't worked for women for Alfie.
Right.
The money aspect is not much of a factor when you're really early on in your career. No, it was part of it for me was being able to have fun and make a living at it.
Having fun, doing what you love at the same time.
That's right.
Awesome. So I did a little bit of research on you, and I saw you.
But not Alfie.
Not at all.
Good.
Not yet. We'll have another one with Jessica. But what made you get into producing love songs?
On KVIL? Wow, someone did some digging. Let's see, that would have been from like around 2001, 2002. It was honestly a total lack of options. I'd actually started out working in promotions and I had started running a board off the air as well, and then the opportunity came up to produce the night show, which was, at the time, Love Songs at Night on 103.7 KVIL. So I basically just produced that show at the time, and it was full-time, and I was excited to have health insurance.
Is the next question for me?
Yes. What
Excellent.
is your most embarrassing moment?
Oh, God. Anytime I'm on the air, really...
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Anytime you're on the air, it's embarrassing.
It's incredibly embarrassing anytime you're on the air. Oh, man. I don't know if it was embarrassing or not. It was a really, really new thing, new experience. When I first started with the show years ago, when Russ asked me to chase down our old boss, Gavin Spittle, and dry hump him. So that was probably pretty bad.
Dry humping.
I'd like to think that that would also be Gavin's answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of going off of that, the worst thing that's happened to you on air.
How long is this interview? I'm actually kind of serious because it's a laundry list of things. So what I'll do is I'll think of one or two right now, and then after you guys leave, I'm going to think of like 10 to 15 other ones, because I've been on this show for 15 years now, and I would say something probably weekly happens where I'm thinking like, oh God, I wish I could take that back. I wish I hadn't said that, or I wish something wouldn't have happened to me. But one of the worst things that happened to me on the air, we used to do a lot of stunts at our previous station. We can't do them in this building because they call the police and the fire trucks show up and the building looks down on it. But one of the worst ones was really early on when I started with the show. They shot me with what was called a dookie cannon. So imagine, you know what PVC pipe is, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the big white one.
You got it. So imagine a potato cannon made out of PVC pipe, but instead of shooting a potato at me, because that would have killed me, the producer at the time named Eddie concocted this brown substance that looked like diarrhea in a bag. And I'm not kidding when I say it might have actually smelled worse. So part of the horrible part of it was not knowing if there was actual dookie in there, but also when I got hit with it because it was through a high pressure valve. So there were little chunks of something hard in it.
Oh.
I think it was garlic, or it could have just been really tiny rocks, I'm not sure. But it actually left red welts on my torso. So it looked like I got shot with like a shotgun, but it was
Dookie.
It was dookie, and that video I think is still online somewhere.
We'll find it. And
Please don't.
We'll put it in this video. Just for you. You technically directed the Dallas Cowboys radio station, is what I read.
The radio network, yeah.
Do you like the Cowboys? Is that your team of choice?
Love the Cowboys, absolutely. And that was actually early on, that was when I was at KVIL as well, because at the time the Cowboys radio broadcast was on KVIL. And so I got that because I knew how to run the board, and the guy that ran the board during the games had to go out of town, and he didn't have a backup, so they just came to me and said, would you do this? And I said, I'd be happy to. It was a great thing, because I got to listen to the radio broadcast and watch the game on the TV in the studio and have it all under my control.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually really cool. And then much later on in life, it would have been 4, about 6 to 7 years later, I was actually back on the Cowboys radio network doing pregame, halftime, and postgame shows.
So Cowboys are your boys.
But they are.
Awesome.
So Dan, just thinking, Dan, who have been your favorite guests?
Stealing my question.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
On the show, I'm guessing. Not
Yeah.
On the show.
like present company excluded?
Yeah. I think I know your answer.
You do. I've got two. One was Seth MacFarlane, right after Family Guy came out on DVD. And that actually wasn't on the Russ Martin Show. That was on a show I had on Saturday nights at the same time as I worked on the Russ Martin Show. That was, oh man, what year was that? That probably like 2003, maybe 2004. So that was really exciting at the time.
He was pushing the Family Guy DVDs.
He was pushing the Family Guy DVDs because at the time, Fox had taken Family Guy off the air. And then eventually the DVDs did really well in the sales. They put the show back on the air and they haven't taken it off since. But overall, number one in person is easily, Alfie knows it, is Bruce Campbell. We had him on the show 3 or 4 times, phone and in the studio. And I'm a huge fan of, Evil Dead, Army of Darkness. Pretty much anything he does, I'll watch it just because I think he's fantastic and he's so down to earth. So,
Man crush?
Little bit of a man crush, a little bit. I even watched, there was a show he had back, I think it was like in 89 or 90, it was called The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. And I remember being really upset that show didn't get picked up or it got canceled, and I was sad because I liked that show. But no, we met him in person, he was a great guy, very nice and funny.
Alfie, who was yours?
Same thing, Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell was such a fantastic guest to have on because he made himself feel like he was part of the family real effing quick.
Yeah.
Just he
was
hung
one
around.
of the guys from Hello.
Exactly.
Natural.
He walked in and he's just, all right, cool, I'm hanging out with you guys, just hanging out. It's like you knew him for years. And my favorite part about Bruce Campbell is he stuck around after the show was over. He didn't have any need. He was not promoting anything. He's no longer on air. He's just hanging out with us. That was probably one of the coolest things, where it's just
taking goofy photos,
Exactly.
signing some stuff for us. That's a big part of it, and just showing genuine appreciation for, I guess, us showing appreciation for him just being there.
Real life.
Yeah.
What are y'all most afraid of? And you are included as well.
We'll let Jerry go first.
yeah.
What's our
I'm
biggest?
actually really curious to find out what Jerry's afraid of.
Yeah, because I
Afraid
think,
of.
you know what, actually, hang on. I'll start this. I think most of us are, like Alfie and I, we are afraid of Jerry.
Yeah, exactly.
Scared. Scary Jerry.
Damn it, Dan.
what do you?
All right, now your turn.
Just anything in general?
Yes.
Yeah. Gun violence,
Surgery.
sharks.
Surgery.
What kind of surgery?
Yes.
All of the above?
Anything where I have to be knocked out, then they're gonna have to cut into me and expose my guts to air.
You do realize that, like, you get knocked out every night when you go to bed, right?
Yeah,
you're
but
unconscious.
that's my choice, and I
you don't have-
am fairly certain no one will be exposing my innards to the air.
You don't have a choice
Fairly sure.
to fall asleep. If you decide to not fall asleep, you just die. If you try and stay awake, you just die. So that's it. So you don't have a choice in the matter of falling asleep. Just like, just think of that. Surgery is the same thing. Just falling asleep. You're just falling asleep. And you're going to wake up and all of a sudden you got some new stuff in you. It's great.
But I think the reason why he's afraid of it is because having done it to other people,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the vivisection thing.
he knows to be afraid of it.
Amateur vivisectionist. That's his, yeah. Sorry, yeah, my bad. I get it. I didn't realize it from your perspective.
He has personal knowledge.
And yours?
Fear?
Fear.
I don't have to think about it.
If you had to think about it.
If you have to think about
She's
it.
forcing you to,
I know,
so.
yeah. No, it's that crippling, that crippling fear of, what's the word? I'm about to get all fucking existential on you. Can I curse in this?
Yeah. You just
Awesome.
Everyone has to be above the age of 18.
It's not.
I like the look of hope in her eyes. It's like, please be.
You ever know that deep existential dread? You know what I'm talking about? That keeps you awake at night.
Turtle?
Where?
So you're scared of the dark.
Yeah. You're sitting there and you're trying to go to sleep, and you're like, man, one day I'm gonna die, and the Earth is gonna, turn to bits when the sun burns it up, and there's no. I fear lack of meaning. That's it.
Whoa.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but I
Indeed.
hate to say it, but I know exactly what you're saying because typically when I think of that, it's when I'm trying to take a nap
Exactly.
and my brain won't let me.
You're just trying to like chill on like a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
You're drinking, and you're like, hey, guess what? You and everyone you love are gonna die someday.
And you may not ever really know it when it happens.
Exactly.
The end
Yeah.
of the world is coming.
Yeah. That's my biggest fear. And Jerry.
See?
And Jerry. Scary Jerry. Always. If you could visit a past, a present, or a future event, what would it be?
Oh man, that's actually a good question. I've thought about these before. Mine would definitely be a past event. It would be probably a toss-up between Battle of the Alamo and the Battle of Thermopylae.
Okay. So
Jim,
you'd
did-
be present, so you'd be out,
I would-
at war.
I don't know if I want to be like actually fighting
You just wanna
because
see it.
the people I was rooting for in those two battles didn't come out on the winning side. I would just want to witness
You
it.
just want to hang out like in like a golf.
In the background.
Like you know, like a golf tournament where you got your covered
Yeah.
tent and it's catered
And
and
a
you're watching.
VIP, I'm eating
Exactly.
like a drink. Yeah, exactly. I want it to be like the Byron Nelson, but horrific death. No, but did you ever see the movie 300?
300, yes.
Yeah, that's the Battle of Thermopylae.
Okay.
That's what I want to go back and see. That, like I said, that or Alamo.
Sideline in a bush.
Yeah.
What about you?
Future, you gotta go future. Come on, you've gotta push forward and find either if people ever get off Earth, if we ever become robots or start fighting robots, that kind of thing, Terminator type stuff.
You just want to know if the movies were right.
Exactly,
At
yeah.
some point, was Terminator correct?
Exactly. I assume it's going to be at some point,
But
but
see, technically, they already have one.
dude, yeah, the friggin' yeah. I go.
It's just not in the way that we
Dude.
were expecting. But
Yeah,
the
Google
machines
is
have already
Skynet.
won.
Dude, is Siri Skynet?
Probably.
Oh my God.
Siri, Alexa, equals Skynet.
Oh my God.
It was awesome seeing you guys.
Awesome
Having
seeing
you
you.
guys interview with me.
Thank you. Thank
Dan, Alfie, and Jerry. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
She's shorter than she looks.
you. Much.